The Moe meter has just went off the charts with this episode. I don't know if it's just me, but Yona is super freaking kawaii when she is little. She's so adorable. She is really, really adorable when she's little. Did you see the little cuteness she was this entire episode, man? Oh my god, her face. Like, when you have the entire bit when she's laying in the bed when she's sick, and when you see the different fathers of Suwon and Hawk just come in, and then all of a sudden you just see her face tear up. She's like, oh, scary. I'm like, oh my god. That was just so adorable. Come on. That was cute. And then the entire bit when you had Hawk just making fun of her, and she just punches him real quick. She has her fist up. Oh my god, the Moe-ness. The Moe-ness is just so adorable. Holy god. I didn't expect that type of Moe quality in Akatsuki no Yona. I did not expect it. And to see that, I was just smiling in the entire flashback sequence. So, this week's episode. Episode 3. I'm gonna tell you, I am definitely sticking with this series. I've actually enjoyed this series a lot more than I thought I would. And I enjoy the concept. Even though there's nothing original about it, I like the characters. The characters are very likable, and at the moment, I want to see exactly where Yona's journey is going to take her. That's exactly why I want to continue this series, because this series has opened my eyes up to want to see the conclusion. I don't necessarily know how many episodes it's going to be, so if any of you Chibits actually know how many, episodes this series is going to be, please let me know. But anyways, this episode, we get a flashback. Majority of this episode is a flashback sequence of Yona, Suwon, and Hawk just when they were younger in their childhood days and when they used to play together in the snow. We got to see some aspects of how Hawk first met, Yona. Not exactly officially first met, but we got to see how he became her bodyguard. We got to see how Hawk actually thought of Yona, at an early age, how much he actually loved her. We got to see these entire moments in, overall emotions from these characters at an early age, and it makes me respect these characters a lot more. Now, I just want to tell you right now, I am very surprised of how consistent the animation quality of this series is. The animation quality is something I would expect to kind of go down a little bit when you are watching a series like this, but the animation for the most part is good. I mean, it's not the best, but I mean, it looks really good for this series, and it's pretty freaking shocking if you think about it. Now, one thing that I will say is that in the terms of this episode, I kind of find it very sad. It's very sad how you get to see how Yona is this princess that's grew up in, this castle, this kingdom, and she's always been pampered, and she's always had a nice, quiet life. She's always had fun with Hawk and Suwon, and that's how she grew up. Well, as we see her in her dream sequence, her flashback sequence, she shifts over to where Suwon kills her father, and, all those memories just come back to her, and she's like, oh shit, and she wakes up. And, that's the actual sad part about this episode, because, I mean, I've had those entire counts of moments in my life, too, where I felt like something didn't happen, and then I woke up and realized it did happen, or vice versa. So, pretty much that entire moment, I actually had some form of connection with Yona. I was like, damn, that's pretty freaking sad when you saw that entire moment. Now, at the end of this episode, we get to see Hawk's determination to protect Yona at the end of this. I mean, he didn't even care he was getting bit by freaking snakes. You saw all these snakes. I don't know what type of snakes they were. Probably vipers or something. But they were biting into freaking Hawk, and you saw one bite into his leg, and he kept running, and it was fine by him. I don't know necessarily if those snakes were poisonous or not. Hopefully, they're not. But, I mean, judging by the way Hawk, just tied up his leg and bandaged his leg, I'm guessing it wasn't that bad. Or I guess he took out the poison. Either way, we have seen, the future of when Hawk was with Yona, so I highly doubt he's technically dead by a snake. I just wonder exactly what type of snake that was and if it was poisonous. Now, there is one thing in this episode that actually might play a major part later on down the road in this series. It is the entire bit with that little, hairpin that, Yona went back to try to find in this episode. We know that Suwon gave it to her, and she went back into the forest in the middle of the darkness to try to find it after she lost it, and that was one of the first things that made her actually move and start speaking or whatever in this episode post, the father's death. And so what this shows us is that she still has some form of connection with Suwon, and I feel like for her character to really develop and actually have a really good accomplished development, she's probably going to have to throw away that hairpin or demolish it or do something with it. That's what I think is exactly going to happen if her character wants to develop in a proper fashion. Because, I mean, that's the aspect I can see how she can fully get rid of Suwon and remove her feelings towards him if she actually gets rid of that hairpin. Now, in this episode, we get a little bit of hints at a couple of things. For one thing, the King too. or King something. There was a couple achievements that said like King 2 something. I don't understand. I'm just calling him King 2. But anyways, King 2. In this episode, we see him actually do something that a kind and cowardly king would never do. Of course, you gotta go figure it was his daughter, but still, from this king that's been talked about since the first episode, being a cowardly and kind king that wouldn't attack anyone, and also he's against weapons, he showed a personality trait that I did not expect. For instance, you had this entire dude, this candidate to, just try to marry Yona in this episode in her flashback. You see how he's trying to get all over Yona, Hawk saves her, and all of a sudden you see this dude pull out a sword about to attack Hawk, and the king grabs the dude's sword, and you see the dude's sword's unsheathed, so the king's hand gets, like, split open. And, the king did it without even saying nothing. He didn't give a shit at all. And so, it shows you his personality, that there's something else hidden behind the scenes. Is it actually possible that the king killed Sulan's father? Is it really possible? Is it becoming more possible after these events with these episodes? Because that's what it's hinting at. For the king to show a personality trait like that, that's pretty freaking daring for a cowardly king. So, personally, the episode is a very good episode, has a lot of setup, and also one thing I saw they were trying to set up in this episode was the Wind Tribe clan. I noticed the preview at the end of this episode that we're probably going to be going to the Wind Tribe clan. That's where Hawk grew up when he was younger and adopted by his grandpa or foster father. And so most likely this is where Yona's journey is going to take her, to where she goes probably to the different clans to probably gain allies to probably take back the kingdom. That's what I see exactly going on with this series. Overall, wonderful episode. I enjoyed it, and I cannot wait for episode 4. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night, wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.